individuals who are here, unless council has any other questions. Questions, no comments, questions. Go ahead.
So the number one street, the streets that are number one now, would take, according to this, total cost roads rated, 2.5, no, replacement 2, would take 4 3/4 years to do the 3, 6, 9 streets that are currently number one streets.
Yes, and that's provided there are no accidents or
with no contingency. 5 years, jeez. So basically, the life of this levy, what people are voting on, is really a levy to fix 9 streets. That I'm, you know,
is that a
on the one
question
hand,
to Ed?
it's a question, and there's only one. Yeah, that's my question. That's
yes, it will do that, but it also, out of the budget comes 10%, which goes to maintain existing 3s, 4s, and try and patch up the 2s to keep them in fairly decent condition. So it's a mixture. We try and use 90% of the money for the road replacement per se, and 10% for maintenance.
Okay.
The other thing,
Mr. Chairman.
Yep.
I was just going to add to that you know, that was the streets rated 1 at an estimated budget of $3.6 million in reconstruction cost. Using some of these other techniques,
New methods,
we might be able to reduce that. And then hopefully we could do all the 1 streets in a period of 3 years, let's say, and then allow us to then start working on number 2 list.
So this means that the number 2, where it says number 2, rated number 2, rated number 3, with the first 5 years, then after 5 years, if this got renewed or about the same amount of income, it would be another 4 years to get the number 2 roads.
oh, actually
Another
more,
8 years,
it'd be
yeah.
8 years because
Another 8 years.
Well,
An additional 8 years, okay.
yeah, because the value of the number 2 streets are much greater than what the number 1s are. There's more number 2
Right.
streets than there are number 1s.
So this is additive, not cumulative.
Correct.
That's right.
Okay. Thank you.
I think Sonny and then Ruth, and I do want to get.
Quick question. When we had, soon after we did pass the income tax increase, the 5%, I remember specifically going through meetings on a plan of, first it was a 3-year plan to fix number 1s, then it went to an increase, and then the last time we talked about it was a 7-year plan. And now that seems to be sort of, just totally off the table in terms of discussion, using that general fund money for these streets. What happened, and how does that, I see this pie chart, but how does that come into play with what we're discussing in terms of a plan?
Part of it is, if you can remember back, the fuel costs.
Okay.
The fuel cost really changed that 1 year in the cost of asphalt. We went from, what was the
Well, I mean, yeah, the asphalt prices have increased dramatically, a factor of about almost 2. Not in that same time period, but going back about 2000. We were working with a reduced amount of money in the last several years, where we had about under $500,000 to actually spend on the roads themselves. So we did as much as we could possibly do with that money, but just not enough. So
Because of the expenses increase.
because we
increase in expenses, and also not having that much more out of general funds. I mean, we just could not
I let
deplete general
Joe
fund.
address this, but he was transferring money out of the general fund into this, because there was, right off the top, he had $338,000 out of what was being generated was dedicated technically to that bond repayment. So in order to come up with $500,000, he had to transfer money out of the general fund.
Well, we spent $1,001,000, $1,067,000, $995,000, $940,000, so we spent an average of $1 million over the last 4 years on roads. And that includes the debt service.
And we're running in place.
Right, and that's And that's all we have.
That's all we have.
That's all we have, $1 million.
Well, just listening, one of the issues and concerns that I think that is going to be brought up by residents moving forward. If we have these 9 streets, and it's going to take us roughly 5 years, even with the millage, the levy approval to get them fixed, not knowing what the budget looks like moving forward, are we going to be able to show due diligence in cutting back some costs to put some money from the budget, direct money from the budget into the road levy? Because this is not going to cut it across the board. You're going to get residents that are going to be, in essence, essentially upset. You're going to ask people to put more money into road repair or millage, which they're not going to realize for 5 years. Then we're going to be back where we started, even though they're paying more money in tax dollars. I don't see this right now, what I'm hearing, a win-win situation.